In the late 1960s, Kodak was an unstoppable force in the photography world. It controlled a staggering 80% of the global market, dominating America and beyond. Their cameras, films, and papers were household staples, and the company was synonymous with capturing life's most cherished moments. Kodak wasn't just a brand, it was a movement, a symbol of the Kodak smile and the magic of freezing memories in time. But what happened to this giant? How did Kodak, a pioneer in its industry, lose its way so spectacularly? Kodak's success stemmed from a brilliant business model known as the razor and blade syndrome. They sold cameras at low margins, making them accessible to the masses, but raked in profits from the high-margin film and printing papers. Kodak didn't just sell products, they sold memories. Weddings, birthdays, and vacations all bore the stamp of Kodak's iconic branding. Their innovation turned photography from a professional luxury into a household necessity. Every family could now own a camera, and every picture told a story with Kodak subtly etched on the back. Everything seemed perfect, but as history shows, even giants can stumble. The 1970s brought a quiet revolution. In 1975, a Kodak engineer named Steve Sasson invented the world's first digital camera, a device that could have redefined photography forever. But here's the shocking twist. Kodak shelved it. Why? Kodak was blinded by its success. The company was deeply entrenched in its lucrative film business. Executives feared that embracing digital photography would cannibalize their profits. They believed that the tactile joy of holding a printed photograph would never be replaced by pixels on a screen. Meanwhile, the world was changing. By the 1980s, Fujifilm, a Japanese competitor, was rapidly gaining ground. With advanced technology and economies of scale, Fujifilm began selling film at prices lower than Kodak could match. While Kodak was busy fighting this wrong competition, they missed the real battle, the digital revolution. Digital photography was more than a fad. It was the future. Costs were dropping, quality was improving, and people were becoming digitally literate. Yet Kodak remained hesitant, clinging to its high-margin film business and massive production facilities. The company had the technology, the market position, and the brand power to dominate the digital age. But instead of leading the charge, Kodak hesitated. By the time they realized the magnitude of the digital shift, it was too late. Companies like Sony and Canon had already claimed the market, and Kodak found itself struggling to keep up. If you think Kodak's downfall was just a case of bad decisions, here's an even more shocking twist. The company had a clear roadmap for the future. During the 1980s and 1990s, Kodak commissioned extensive market research and foresaw the digital revolution. Reports warned them about the declining costs of digital cameras, the rise of digital storage, and changing consumer behaviors. Kodak even anticipated that the film business would collapse by the early 2000s. Despite these warnings, they chose to stay the course, prioritizing their short-term profitability. Their leadership believed they could delay the digital wave long enough to milk profits from their film business. It wasn't a case of ignorance, it was a conscious gamble, and they lost. While Kodak hesitated, Fujifilm not only embraced digital photography, but also diversified its business. By investing in medical imaging cosmetics and digital solutions, Fujifilm mitigated the risks of declining film sales. In contrast, Kodak doubled down on its core business. The company even launched the Kodak Advantix preview camera in the late 1990s, a hybrid device that allowed users to preview images before printing them. While innovative, it was ultimately too expensive and too late to compete with fully digital cameras. Adding to Kodak's woes was Fujifilm's strategic entry into the American market. By offering film at significantly lower prices and leveraging aggressive marketing campaigns, Fujifilm captured market share right under Kodak's nose. Here's another bitter irony. Kodak didn't just invent the digital camera. They also held over 1,000 patents related to digital imaging technology. These patents had the potential to generate billions in licensing revenue. However, Kodak's fear of undermining its film business prevented them from fully exploiting these assets. In the late 1990s, as digital cameras gained popularity, Kodak finally began selling its own models. However, their strategy was flawed. They bundled digital cameras with proprietary software and expensive accessories, alienating price-sensitive consumers. Meanwhile, competitors like Canon and Sony offered more affordable and user-friendly alternatives. Kodak's decline wasn't just about digital cameras, it was also about the rise of smartphones. By the mid-2000s, smartphones equipped with high-quality cameras made standalone cameras increasingly irrelevant. People no longer needed to carry a separate device to capture life's moments. Kodak failed to anticipate this shift. While companies like Apple and Samsung revolutionized photography with mobile technology, Kodak clung to its outdated business models. The company had once made photography accessible to the masses, but now it was being left behind by the very democratization it had pioneered. Kodak's leadership struggled with what experts call the innovator's dilemma. Their existing business was so profitable that they couldn't bring themselves to disrupt it. They believed that their dominance in the traditional photography market would protect them, but history proved otherwise. Even when Kodak began to pivot, their efforts were fragmented and inconsistent. They launched digital cameras, invested in photo kiosks, and even attempted to create an online photo sharing platform. Yet, none of these initiatives had the boldness or vision needed to reclaim their market position. In January 2012, Kodak filed for bankruptcy, a sobering moment for a company that had once been a global icon. It marked the end of an era, but it also symbolized a broader lesson about the perils of resistance to change. What's even more surprising is how Kodak tried to survive post-bankruptcy. The company restructured itself around commercial printing, patent licensing, and other niche markets. While they continue to exist today, they are a shadow of their former glory. Kodak's downfall stands in stark contrast to Fujifilm's success. While Kodak was filing for bankruptcy, Fujifilm was thriving. The Japanese company's decision to diversify early on allowed it to weather the decline of the film industry. Today, Fujifilm is not only a leader in imaging technology, but also a major player in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and healthcare. Fujifilm's story proves that adaptation and foresight are critical for survival. Where Kodak clung to the past, Fujifilm embraced the future, and it made all the difference. The story of Kodak isn't just about business, it's about culture. The phrase Kodak moment once symbolized life's most precious memories. Today, that phrase is a relic of a bygone era. The emotional connection people had with Kodak was unparalleled, and its absence is felt even by those who never owned a Kodak product. Imagine what could have been if Kodak had embraced its digital innovations from the start. They could have been the pioneers of digital photography, online photo sharing, and even mobile imaging. Instead, they became a cautionary tale, a reminder that no brand, no matter how iconic, is immune to obsolescence. Kodak's story is a powerful reminder for leaders and entrepreneurs. Embracing change, even when it seems risky, is often the key to survival. It's not enough to be the first mover. You also need to be the fast mover. So what can we learn from Kodak? The world doesn't stop moving, and neither should we. Whether you're a business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, remember this: complacency is the enemy of progress. What's your biggest takeaway from Kodak's story? Share your thoughts below.